Tesla leading the S&P 500 right now, despite another big drop in European sales. Elon Musk posting over the weekend he's, quote, back to spending 24/7 at work on factory floors. Phil LeBeau is here with that music to investors' ears, Phil.
Yeah, I think investors like Elon when he's focused on Elon projects and not focused on Doge. Let's talk about the post that you mentioned, Sarah. This was the one that got a lot of attention. It's not something different from what we've heard from Elon Musk in the past. It's reiteration of what he told David Faber last week and what we've heard other times, back to spending 24/7 at work and sleeping in conference server factory rooms. I must be super focused on xAI, and Tesla, plus Starship launched next week as we have critical technologies rolling out. One of the most important things that's going to happen over the next month and a little over 6-7 weeks is going to be the robotaxi rollout, which will be next month in Austin, Texas. It's going to be a small fleet. And remember, these will be existing Model Ys. That will be part of a very small launch for the Tesla robotaxi service. It will not be the Cybercab. In terms of the traditional business, European sales, these are the latest numbers from the European Auto Association. Brutal. Tesla down 49% for April compared to April of last year, while electric vehicles overall up 34.1%. Remember, the traditional auto business, if you will, EV business for Tesla, I mean, they had a rough first quarter relative to what was expected. 336,000 vehicles delivered. They did not grow sales last year compared to the year before. First time since really it was a startup that we saw that happen. And it raises the question, what can we expect for all of 2025? Finally, take a look at shares of Tesla versus BYD. You know, there was a note out from UBS about consumer interest in EVs falling. With regard to BYD, keep in mind that dip that you're seeing in the prices that you guys talked about in the intro to our segment here, that price war in China is not slowing down. It's brutally competitive. And the question becomes, you know, how many of these automakers or these EV companies, at some point, you start to see some consolidation over there? Because it's BYD and a few others who have the hammer, and they are putting it down in terms of cutting prices.
That challenge from the Chinese automakers in particular, BYD obviously chief amongst them, it continues in all markets around the world. I always come back to your trip. Yep. I know it's a while ago, to some of those markets, for example, where there obviously are no domestic suppliers, and how they can dominate places in South America, for example.
And it's not just BYD, David. It is all of the Chinese automakers. This is the strategy of the state government of China, that they are going to use the rest of the world as a market where they are going to sell their vehicles. They keep the plants running, and even if sales start to slow down and the market starts to slow down in China, or it starts to slow down as they grow sales in Europe, doesn't matter. They're still number one in Israel, number one in Chile, number one in a number of other markets in Southeast Asia. And I say this time and again, David, people will say this to me when I bring this up. Oh, but how big are sales in Chile? You add Chile, you add Israel, you add Australia, you add Thailand. You start adding all those up, the rest of the world is fairly significant.
And Saudi, too. They were really big already, BYD, just as Elon Musk is entering that market with a lot of fanfare, as he was there with the president a few weeks ago. Thank you, Phil.